Have you been wondering what's going on in Nevada right now, what the situation is, and how it affects housing? Well, I have some answers for you today. Hey everybody, it's Eric Hudson, and I'm out here with your Real Estate Minute. This isn't a monthly update or anything, but I wanted to pass on some information that I got. Before I do that, I want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is one of two major holidays honoring our military. Now, we think about Labor Day and Veterans Day kind of the same, but they're different. Memorial Day is for those who suffered the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. So I want to give a good shout out there to all of the uniformed services, my fellow airmen, Army, Navy, Marines. I'm going to even give a shout out to the Coasties out there. So happy Memorial Day. And for those of you who know who've lost someone in combat, this is the day that we remember their sacrifices that give us the freedom that we have. On to other things. Let's talk about what's going on in Nevada right now. If you've been looking at the news, unemployment is not great in Nevada right now. The April figures are finally out. I know it's the end of May. It takes a while for the government to compile all of these things. Guess where we're at? In Nevada, the unemployment rate is officially 28.2%.
Oh no!
28.2%. How's that compared against the rest of the nation? The United States as a whole is at 14.2% at the end of April. That is almost double the national unemployment rate. Not the greatest thing in the world, but no, there's some things to think about here. So right now we are number one in the nation. Not for a good way. I don't want to put thumbs down on that. Number two right now is Michigan, 22.7%. Number three is Hawaii, 22.3%. So let's talk about that and how it relates to housing. Well, look at Nevada. The most populous state is, of course, Clark County, followed by Story County. That's so basically where Las Vegas is, and Reno, the big gambling centers. What do you have in the gambling centers? Casinos and entertainment venues. Last time I checked, airlines are flying empty. So these casinos have had to furlough people, lay people off. Although not a good thing in the short term, hopefully it won't be bad in the long term. Here's where we actually stand. A lot of those jobs were in service-related industries that have been affected by our current crisis. Once this crisis has subdued, things will go back to normal. As our nation heals, we will come back to normal. America is a strong nation. We are a great nation, and we always recover. No matter what has happened, we will always come together and get things done. This 28.2% is actually the highest in Nevada history, and it tops the all-time U.S. Unemployment rate, which was approximately 25% in 1933. I need you to take that in. So how's that affecting the housing market right now? That's the big question mark. Okay, here it is. It's not affecting it right now. I'm seeing sales that are the same. We may have fewer sales, and here's the reason why. The sellers out there who are afraid are taking their houses off the market. I was going out with a buyer just the other day, and he wanted to see like almost 20 houses to begin with. After we whittled it down, guess what? We could only see 7 because the rest were either the day prior got offers on them, or the owners, afraid of people to come through them, said no, or they have tenants. And let me go back on tenants just a second here. Until the end of the month, and we'll see what happens then, we are not, the governor is not allowing tenants, homes that have tenants in them, to
Oh
be shown.
no.
So sometimes people have things in their lease contract, like when I get ready to sell a house, you have to show the house. That's null and void. The tenant is in control of that process now, and even if they've agreed, uh, a different client we're going to see sell houses yesterday, and two of the tenants were like, "Nah, I just can't do it." So we saw half as many houses as we were planning to. The houses are getting multiple offers. As I speak, I'm waiting for a counter offer on a house that we put in near list price for that has multiple offers that's only been on the market for a few days. Good houses are always going to sell. Remember that. Good houses are always going to sell. And even with the situation that we're in right now, people are out there buying because there are plenty of people who are working from Zoom. So they have not lost their jobs. They're sitting at home working now instead of being at the office and working. So things have not changed for them. And of those 28% of people, 28.2 who are unemployed, let's be honest, some of them are in different situations and may not be truly unemployed yet. Remember, we have had a big change from the past. Self-employed people were not allowed in the past to apply for unemployment. They are allowed to apply for it here. And to be honest, today I'm taping this on Saturday of the Memorial Day weekend. This is supposed to be the first day that self-employed and gig workers can apply. Now remember, we've been in this a long time. They keep pushing it back because of antiquated systems. Okay, so now they say they're ready today. Something tells me next week we'll see a bunch of problems. But with that, some of these people are still working. They're just allowed to apply for unemployment. I already know plenty of people, and anybody who's still here in Nevada and maybe in some other states know plenty of people who have their gig going. Real estate agents, Uber drivers. They may not be making as much money anymore, but they're not unemployed. They're still getting work done. And as far as real estate agents go, there's still as many transactions going on. Just a lot of people are sitting around, rocking back and forth on the couch in the fetal position. Don't worry about that. Things are still going forward as we speak, and there's still plenty of things going on. So as a seller, you're still in the driver's seat right now. It is still a seller's market, and sellers are still controlling the inventory, especially for well-priced, nicely kept homes. They disappear immediately as long as they're well-priced and nicely kept. And I don't mean underpriced, priced right. We've gone away from the situation where you can try to price it 10% above, 5% above, and hope someone makes an offer and you're like dancing like crazy. That's gone. For buyers, it's not as bad as it's been because there are a lot of people sitting on the fence. That 28.2% of people, they're not competing against you right now. So if you're a strong buyer, this is your chance. Right now, we should be in the middle of the spring market with everything going 100%, full military power. For those of you who ever flew aircraft in the military, full mil power, afterburners on the whole nine. We should be in that right now. Fortunately, because everyone's sitting around, we're kind of like in shelter in place mode. We're coming out of it. But, right now, this is a great time to buy a house because you're not competing against 5 other offers. The one I was just talking about, I only have one other offer I'm competing against. I had a listing back in the end of last year. We had over 20 offers on it. 20. It sold for $15,000 over list price, which was already listed $15,000 over what the last house sold for in that community. We're not there yet. Again, this is your chance to get that dream home. Interest rates are the lowest they've ever been if you're a buyer. Now, let's get to this next point I wanted to cover, closing cost. Been getting that a lot lately, and my last listing that sold gave closing costs to them. A year ago, you couldn't have gotten closing costs to save your rear end. As strong of a seller's market as we are still in, sellers are giving closing costs. But here's where you have to think. If you're going to beat somebody up, you can only beat them up one time. You can't, or you can take little love taps. You can't just beat them up. Can't beat them up. So if the house is priced at 350 and it's rightly priced at 350, then you need closing cost of, we'll just make up numbers, $5,000. You can't offer 340 on the house and ask for 5,000. That's just not going to happen. You can ask for 350 and 5 and see if it works, or better yet, find out if it may float, and you can offer a couple of thousand over and get those closing costs. Which is more important to you? Saving $5,000 off a house or getting your closing costs paid? How long does it take to save $5,000? I want you to think about that. If you've been trying to save for a house, how long did it take you to save for that down payment? Now you've got to save for closing cost. How long does that take? If you buy a house at current interest rates and you pay that $5,000 that you're trying to save on the house, how much is that per month? It's like $15, $12 or something. Okay, so I've saved $12 a month. But divide that by 5,000. You'll find out it takes you over 22 years to save $5,000. Average person's in a house for 7. By the time it's all said, you've made money by just giving a proper offer. I'm not saying go way over. Listen, don't go over. Biggest thing is houses sell for what the market is. You're not selling or buying based on your feelings. You know, I've had clients that go, I'm just going to offer what I want to offer on this house. It doesn't matter. It's like, well, what about the market? Well, I feel these houses. It's not what you feel. It's like when people list their house and they feel they want something for it. That's not reality. These are not the droids you're looking for. Okay? These are not the droids you're looking for. In reality, houses sell for market, and they can sell for more. To be honest, it's counterintuitive, but when you underprice your house, believe it or not, you sell for more. It's kind of like the eBay effect. So when your strategy going in, if you're looking to get your closing costs paid, you need to have your real estate professional carefully go through the numbers and find out what that house is truly going to appraise for. Because no matter what, unless you're paying cash, and if you're paying cash, I doubt you need closing costs. If you're getting a loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, for those rare situations when you can do a USDA loan, you have to have an appraisal on that house. It has to make sure that the bank's position is covered. You may think you're buying the house, you're renting it from the bank. Because trust me, miss 60 days in payments and you'll find out how much you own, okay? They have to have their position covered, and that is done through an appraisal. And they're only going to lend based upon that appraisal, okay? So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. So it's not what people feel. So if you bought a house for $350 and the appraisal comes back for $375, lucky you. Lucky you. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a bargain and the house, and you thought you're getting a house for $375 for $350, and the appraisal says $350, it may be worth $375. Here's a little known secret that's happened since our last financial crisis. Appraisers don't like getting into trouble. They don't like being sued. Being sued is one of the last things they want. And if they miss that appraisal by overvaluing the house, they have a chance of being sued. And they just don't like that. It's just not on their thing. So if your house is truly worth 375 and you could have gotten that, the house that you're buying, and you offer 350 on it, that appraisal may come back in the 350 range to protect themselves. And that's a good thing for you, because in the good old days, a few years ago, that appraisal may have came back at 375. And then you go back and the seller finds out, they may get just a little miffed. And they may try to find ways to, I don't know, tank the sale to go get that 375. $25,000 is a lot of money if you didn't know that. So if they're not in a hurry, if they found out it really was worth 375, there are people who will find ways to tank a sale to get that done. Okay? So those are things to think about. So first of all, look at what the house is worth, what you can actually appraise for, have your realtor really go through that, and then base your closing cost off of that. Because if it's worth $350, don't try to lowball them and then ask for closing costs, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen right now. It's called a rejection or a counter offer. If you're lucky, they will counter offer. If you're unlucky, you're going to have some people who are going to say, they just insulted me. I'm not going to counter. And if they come back with a higher offer, I'm not going to do it. So don't screw yourself like that for a try. If you want to lowball it and you're not asking for closing costs, yeah, that may work. If you try to lowball and ask for closing cost, I have yet to see it work. So keep yourself protecting that and find out how much you really want to be in that home. So that's what I got for you this week. What I really love for you guys to do is to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for time comes, because I put new content out every week, and I'm working on doubling that and possibly even tripling that, because I really want to get some value out there, because there is so much information that needs to be passed about the real estate market and what you guys need to do, whether you're buying or selling. If y'all need anything, just text me. My information's in the comments below. See you guys later. Bye.